Hey, you found me. It's a good thing, too, because we're in trouble. Not Sasha or me or FairVU. I mean, society. More specifically, the music industry. That means the artists, the musicians, the bands, and their fans. Hi, I'm Telson with FairVU, and you've found episode 1 of the OverVU. Get ready, because in this episode, we're going to explore not just the challenges, but the iniquities built into the music industry. If you're on our website, fairvu.net, that's fairvu.net, and you're on the problem page, you can scroll down and find a number of videos and articles that explore the iniquities within the music industry. And these can be basically put into two categories, either touring or streaming. The touring world has become extremely expensive. We also have a monopolistic and predatory company that's strong-arming working musicians and charging insane ticket prices. In addition to touring, we have streaming. Oh, streaming. In 2023, Spotify announced that they weren't going to pay artists royalties unless their tracks, each individual track, reached 1,000 streams in the 12-month period. Now, Tony from Discmakers has a wonderful video. He's done an amazing breakdown of Spotify and what happened in 2024. And I'm going to warn you, I'm going to spoil his video. So if you'd like to watch his video without knowing the final numbers, pause this right now and go check out his video. It's super, super eye-opening and terrifying. Not like jump scare terrifying, but still nightmarish. Okay, you're still here. So here's some numbers. Tony reports that in 2023, Spotify had 175.5 million tracks that did not reach the 1,000 stream mark. That's almost 87% of the music on Spotify. I'm going to repeat those numbers. 175.5 million songs were not played more than 1,000 times, which means Spotify did not pay the artists that uploaded that music at all. It turns out Spotify didn't pay artists $46.9 million in 2023. This is criminal. This is standardized, though. As an artist, can you afford not to be on Spotify? But don't take my word for it. Let's interview a working musician, shall we? Cue the view. So now I'd like to bring in Sasha Moreau. He is the lead guitarist and not lead singer, but backup singer for United Defiance.
So United Defiance is we are a 90s style skate punk hardcore band that's based out of the San Francisco Bay Area, like East Bay, Walnut Creek, Concord, around there. And band's been around since 2004. I have been with them for this will be my 7th year this year. So we've been around for a long time, and it's interesting. With the kind of punk rock that we play, as we are recording this, I'm 42. I turn 43 in 2 weeks. So that puts me right into the corridor where when the punk rock explosion of the 1990s happened, 1994 was like Green Day and The Offspring and Bad Religion, all of that stuff came out and it just sort of blew up and went wild. You and I both were just barely on the young side to be able to go out and tour and do all of that stuff. We were both 12, right, in 94. So I listened to all these bands coming up. So what has happened is everyone, punk rock musicians who started back when, we were 11 and 12 years old, there's a lot of us who have kept playing. And so now we are, 25, 30 years into this, and we are still doing our thing because the music gets us all excited and whatnot. And it's cool. It's been a really neat sort of an experience. So United Defiance we're a band of a bunch of people who love this style of music, and we tour. We are a working band. We do release. We've got merch. We have uh, all of the struggles and also all of the triumphs that you get to do when you get a bunch of dudes together in a van, and you know.
Now you don't work necessarily with a label. You do have sort of a collective that you work with, but you
Yeah.
don't. You're not necessarily. You're not technically signed, correct?
So we legit have we have pretty much a handshake agreement on that. So our label is called Thousand Islands Records. They're based out of Montreal, Canada. And the it that has changed. Like this, bands don't get like discovered anymore. There's no agent who is like out there waiting and like they're gonna go sign the next up and coming thing who's, I'm gonna make you huge, kid, this song is amazing. Like that doesn't happen. The reason why we ended up signing with them was they helped us to get a foothold into Canada, and we had played a festival, and they were impressed with what we had done, and we chatted a little bit and said, "Hey, we're getting ready to do a release," and they were like, "Well, release it with us, and we can give you at least some distribution, and kind of push you a little bit up here." Um, and we did that. We kind of handle our own stuff for the United States, and we there's another entity that we work with when it comes to distribution with in Europe. But it a collective is a good way of putting that. It's a community of like-minded people who are into doing the same stuff. The label owners, they have a family, they're married, they do this legit in their spare time, and they've got, we're one of, I don't know how many bands they've signed,
Right.
75. Like there's a lot of people, and just based on what they're capable of doing and the energy they're putting in, it's all of us doing DIY stuff
Right.
together is
And
what's happening.
as far as United Defiance, your band, everybody is working outside of the band, correct? You all have
Oh,
full time jobs, maybe second jobs.
100%.
It's not like United
Um,
Defiance is paying the bills.
Not only do is United Defiance not paying the bills 100%, but we are also coming out of pocket a lot of the time to do this stuff, to tour and to create merch and to do, it's a passion project that we are getting paid for, but it's not a sustainable way of making a living to be able to do that. I don't, hitting stage and putting on a show, that's not the office for me. I mean, it is work, but that's not how I'm paying the bills for my kids and stuff. I remember when I got together with my fiance. We started dating, and then like 3 weeks later, we went out on tour for a 10-day run through the Western United States from the Bay Area out to like down to Arizona. We went as far out as Denver, Colorado, and then back up through like Boise. Went a whole big, ended in the Pacific Northwest, a whole big West Coast jaunt. And she asked me like, "How much do you expect to make?" And I sort of laughed, and I was like, "That's cute. Like I will be lucky if we break even." And ironically enough, that was the tour that we ended up making a profit. We sold out of merch eventually, and t-shirts, stickers, vinyl, CDs, stuff like that, hoodies and stuff. But that's the exception. That's not the rule. So it costs money usually to do this because there's just no, you have to tour in order to make money as a band these days. Record sales are not really a thing anymore,
So you were
if that
saying
makes
you
sense.
you sold your vinyl and CDs in addition to merchandise. All of that are costs that your band is just collectively putting pulling some money
Correct.
together in order to get that done. Um,
So yeah.
so if you don't have the money, what suffers first? I mean, are you gonna tour without merch? Are you gonna create merch with the hopes of raising enough money to tour? Are you gonna what's the first to go for a working band when they're just not able to get it all
Gotcha.
together?
That's a really good question, and at some point we will need to do one of these with the rest of my band members.
I'd love that.
I will tell you that Clinton, our lead
Mhm.
singer, has recently since learned how to do screen printing in order to supplement our merch. So he went and got a press. He actually, let me show you this. Uh, he made he made this hoodie, which is one of our new ones. Um, and it's high quality. It's all good, but that's just because he needed to help defray the cost of us doing that. So in terms of the first thing that goes, um, it unless you are just going out to have fun with your friends and rather than go on vacation to Hawaii, you're going to go on tour for a week, because essentially that's kind of what we do. Um, you need to have all of your stuff put together. So we will
Right.
do merch. You have to be sure to have the venues booked. You're not making a whole lot off of ticket sales. At least we're not. In fact, some of the spots, we are either getting, it's like a free show and we will get a cut of the bar and what we bring in, or sometimes it's donations and stuff. And like the reality of it is, hey, we're on tour. Anything that you guys can help provide for us for gas money to get to the next town would be great. And the punk rock community is super supportive about that, and people come out and they do that. Your fan base absolutely makes this happen.
Definitely.
Our fans are incredible,
Yeah.
but it's also not. We're not only not millionaires, but we're negative 10,000
And so you say that touring is how you make money these days. So you can't cut out touring. That obviously, as a
No.
band, it doesn't make sense to record albums and sell merchandise and not perform.
So back in the day, back in the 90s and the early 2000s, before really Napster came onto the scene, and there was that whole
Ah,
thing with
you
Metallica.
you
And
threw out the N word, man.
sorry. um, there was that whole thing with Metallica, and your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts, either they were a bunch of jerks or whatnot. Um, After that sort of happened, that did cut into album sales.
In 2023, the Recording Industry Association of America reported a $17.1 billion revenue in the music industry on recorded music sales. And in 2024, that grew to $17.7 billion in revenue on recorded music. However, let's go back a few years. Let's say to 1999. At the peak of CD sales, the same association reported $14.6 billion in revenue on recorded music sales. Adjusted for inflation, even our 2024 record high number of $17.7 billion of revenue is $10 billion short of the $27.7 billion last century.
You used to be able to sell a record, and you had to buy the whole record, not just the one song you liked. Or if there was a single, like you could do that, and the single was less, but you still ended up having to do that. And it turns out that doing file sharing and then having music be available just by song on demand anytime that you want, and specifically free with ads, has commoditized, and this is my opinion, but I think there's probably a lot of us who feel the same. It's commoditized art, and there are people who will pay $7 for a latte, but are unwilling to pay for a download or for a physical copy of something that has taken 30 years for a musician to gain the skills to be able to do and write and put together and release. And
and and
I don't
and
know.
they're
It's
they're not just not willing to pay a price. They're not willing to pay. They are watching commercials in order to access, or they're listening to the paid advertisements in order
yes,
to access the music.
they're paying in their attention. They're paying in
Well, they're also paying in their private information being distributed. But I also wanted to talk about streaming in general, and
Mhm.
so United Defiance is on all the popular streaming platforms, I assume,
Yes.
Spotify, Apple Music. Uh, Take me through now. Is it a pain in the butt to have to upload to all of those services and keep them all up to date? Is there something that you upload it to one and then it kind of automatically adds you to all the popular services? How does a
So
band go about distributing their music these days?
that is one of the things that in our case, we've got lucky in that our label has helped us out with that.
Okay.
I have, as sort of just a complete side note, I've got not one but two podcasts that I do just as a passion side project. One is like short horror stories, and another is a dark comedy about a hapless vampire hunter called Magouche Medrek. He's like an Inspector Clouseau type. I take care of doing all of that, and I'm the one who has to push those out to the various streaming services. There are some like apps platforms that you can use which will sort of compile everything. You upload it to once and it'll send it out, but it's kind of a pain in the ass. When it comes to our label, they're the ones who have taken care of that. We send them the track, they will upload it for us. And I just recently asked them to provide me numbers for Spotify for for the
Yeah,
purposes
what's
actually of this podcast.
what do you guys make off of that sort of stuff?
Okay, so uh, for the information that we had, we started working with Spotify in January of 2018, and the numbers that I have cover up until December of 2024. So essentially 6 years is what I just pulled from our resources there. Of that, we've got probably three records or so, and a handful of singles and an EP up on our Spotify platform. Over 6 years, we have been streamed 174,138 times. So our music has been listened to almost 175,000
And
times.
and that has to be a full listen, or can that be 10 seconds and then they
It's
decide not to listen to the rest? How is that? I assume that's a full play.
I think I don't know that that is a full play, and I would have to double check on the specifics of that. For all of those streams, our band has been paid $388.83. So
per
that works out.
per month, right?
No, not per. That is total.
That's total.
$388. That's
Over
total.
six
So that
years, you've
works
made
out.
$300 on Spotify.
Yep.
Jiminy,
Almost 400.
Jiminy,
Almost $400.
Jiminy Cricket.
um so that works out to basically a 2,000th of a dollar, 0.0023 cents per stream. We are a five-piece band, which means if you break all of that down over the last 6 years, each one of us, each of the members of United Defiance, has made $12.63 a year, or that works out to $1.08. $1.08 per month for the last 6 years for us having our music on that particular platform. Ta-da! But we're getting exposure. Did you hear the sarcasm?
You're getting screwed, is what you're getting. Okay.
Hey,
Uh,
it's a good thing that my landlord takes, I can pay my rent in exposures, so it's all cool.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. It must just be for the love of music that bands do this, and I can't thank the bands enough for what they do in order to bless us with the good vibes that they do.
So so check this out. I want to speak to that for just a sec, because you're right. It is for the love of music, and it is also for the love of the experience with fans of live music happening together.
Mm,
When you start talking about numbers only and streams on Spotify and the whole thing, what that is missing. The reason why we do this is because we have made so many friends over the course of the last, my last 6 years with this band. I could go to a whole bunch of different cities, including some in Canada, and have a place to stay, have someone to pick me up
mhm.
from the airport, have someone to go out to have drinks or dinner or whatever it is, and catch up, and then talk about, hey, do you remember that one show we were doing that was super fun, and that guy fell off the stage, and how's he doing? Well, like there are so many connections that we make as musicians with our fans and with other bands, and it is this incredible symbiosis of all of us together as a musical community That's why we keep doing it. And goddamn, it would be so cool if it was easier, and if there was a solution to be able to help defray the cost of being an artist. And I think I might have just teed you up for the next one.
We're going to try, my friend. We're going to try. Well, thanks again for your time. And that was Sasha Moreau with United Defiance. We're going to leave some links. Thanks again, buddy. We'll have you back on the podcast real soon.
Sounds good, dude. Thanks.
FairVU is working on a solution. And if you'd like to learn more, check out episode 2 of the OverVU, where Sasha and I explore our solutions and how FairVU is building a platform that will bring about change, positive change, to the music industry. I hope to see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for your time. And if you'd like to directly support our mission, please visit fairvu.net. That's fairvu.net. Be safe out there. FairVU. Come build with us.